Governor Mills.
Thank you. Which leads me to a question. We've been focusing in my state on teaching the teachers. We have an aging workforce, aging population. We want to make sure that the teachers in the public school system are computer literate, digitally literate. But it seems to me there's two streams here. One is to beef up the teaching faculty so that they incorporate computer literacy, computer science in their subject matter coursework. And the other is what's being focused on here today, and that is discrete certifications and degrees in computer science per se. And I'm wondering how you meld the two, which is the priority, because that seems to me we don't generally give advanced degrees in reading or advanced degrees in simple math. We expect those talents, those skills to be underlying all other subject matters. You've got to have that as a basics, one of the cornerstones of learning anything. So to what extent do we focus on teaching the teachers to incorporate computer science in their subject matter curriculum? To what extent do we separate out computer sciences and deal with that as a discrete specialty? I mean, we don't want to ignore, we want everybody to have some basic skills. How do we meld the two?
Great question.
Yeah, I will start, I'm not sure, when I'm talking about it, I'm not talking about a degree in computer science. We're talking about digital literacy, something discrete and separate from that in some ways. I mean, some folks will get into computer science, but I was talking to our chief technology officer, and I said the most capable folks in the future will understand the questions to ask. So a doctor now has all of that research at their fingertips because of technology, but the best doctors will know the questions to ask, right? We'll have that touch with an individual, but they have to be technologically savvy and understand how to use different, whether research, equipment, et cetera. The teaching the teacher is a really important comment. I think you mentioned it. Is there somebody who can really go down this path? But my observation, and I sit on university boards, I think everybody else does, is that we always say, geez, whatever they learn as a freshman is going to be outdated by the time they're seniors. Really what you want are agile and continuous learning pathways. You want to be able to say you've got to continually update your skills and pay attention, and so yes, teaching the teachers is a foundation, but that teacher is going to have to constantly update their own skills because it's moving that quickly. I mean, literally, it is moving at warp speed. So I'm not sure that's an answer, but what I would observe is it's, for me, less about whether they have a computer science degree. It's more about their literacy, their digital literacy, and their understanding of the questions they need to ask, and then thus the access they can have to get those answers to be effective as an employee.
I think it's an and. I think computer science actually is like reading in the sense that I think you have to actually teach a course so that students know what it is, because it is so foundational to understanding technology. And so I do think, as Governor Hutchinson said, having it as a requirement for graduation is important because it's a foundational skill whether or not you go on to be a programmer. There's also, clear evidence that if you're exposed to computer science, you will be more likely to go on and select that as a degree. And as a country, we have not enough, students going into computer science, particularly not enough women. And at the same time, we need to invest to embed digital literacy across coursework. And when you think about communication and collaboration, the ability, my daughter's now in both public and private school, use PowerPoint and use these things as a part of their history class, right? And so we have to be very strategic about embedding it. But I do think that there is a role for computer science, not as a degree in K through 12, but as simply a foundational skill. I do want to give one plug for how you design diversity. I think what Corey said is absolutely critical. And if you listen carefully to what they're doing in their teen centers, and you heard her talk about fashion and all these different things, we did some research a couple of years ago that said at each age, what do you need to do to get more people going into computer science? So it's different in 5th grade versus junior high. But the research also looked at how do you make sure girls go into computer science. And you could actually introduce computer science in a way that does not result in more girls going into computer science, because you do have to make it relevant. And so I think making sure that you're designing diversity into the curriculum is really important. And I just wanted to make sure to cover that, because I don't think there's enough. And it goes to who the teachers are as well. 26% of girls go into computer science if they don't have an inspiring teacher. 80% go into it when they have an inspiring teacher. I mean, there's a lot of good facts, so you do need to think about diversity by design, and I think what Corey's done is really spectacular in how they've thought about these programs.